Hi guys, I'm Jillian. I'm 21 and I'm a nursing student. So this is my very first video and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this channel, kind of a little bit of everything, but this very first video is going to be how to get into nursing school. So every program is different, where there are some that are for your bachelor's in nursing, which are 4 years, and then there are other schools where it's you get your RN in 2 years, and that's what I'm doing, getting my RN, and then transferring to a different school to get my BSN. So first thing I'm going to talk about is the prerequisites for actually getting into nursing school. So like I said, every program is different, and for mine, there were about 5 or 6 classes that you had to take and get a certain GPA in for them to even consider you, as well as you had to take the HESI A2 exam and get a certain score on that. So the classes that I had to take were Intro to Psych, Anatomy and Physiology Part 1. You can take Part 2, but that's technically built into my nursing program, but I did already take that one as well. Then Sociology and English 111 and English 112. And then whatever math you would have to take depending on the program. Ours was basically up to Algebra 2, and I surpassed that in high school, so I didn't have to take any college math. And my GPA for all of those classes was between like 3.5, 3.9. So I'd say do your best and aim your highest GPA-wise, because at least for my program, the only 2 things they look at are your GPA for those classes and your HESI A2 exam score. They don't look at anything else. It doesn't matter how many references you have, if you've already worked at a hospital, anything like that. They just look at how high your GPA is and how high your HESI A2 exam was. So for the HESI A2 exam, that includes critical thinking, basic like English and reading skills. There was a little bit of math, but not much, and then anatomy and physiology. And now you don't have to take Part 1 and Part 2 of anatomy and physiology to do well on the exam. There are portions of both parts on there. I took it before I started the second part of anatomy, and I did perfectly fine. I would suggest getting an actual like study guide book. I know on Amazon the like top rated one I think is the one that I got, and it worked great for me. Like just went through the whole thing because they have sections where you can read and study, and it'll tell you what you need to know in each section, and then have practice tests for each section as well as a big practice test at the end. And I did the whole book, did everything through, and it was great. Most nursing schools do suggest that you take the HESI A2 exam twice, but if you do well enough the first time, you really don't have to. I don't see why you would. Like if you got in the 90s or higher than that, I don't see why you would need to take it again. But the first time I took it, I only got in the 80s. So I did take it again and did improve. And then after that, basically, all you have left is the application process, which for my school was basically just filling out like the basic information on yourself, as well as including your transcripts from if you transferred to another school, if it was from high school, all of your transcripts together in one place, as well as if you took multiple HESI A2 exams, all of those scores together. And then once you submit that, it'll take about a couple months for them to like get back to you. And honestly, it was the most nerve-wracking thing ever, because there were so many people who applied. There were about like 300 people who applied to the program, and they only took 80. And I was like, oh my gosh, if they only look at like your GPA and your HESI A2 exam, but nothing else, like how are they going to do that? Like what if everybody has super high scores for both of those? Luckily, I did get in, but basically you just have to study super hard beforehand and once you're in nursing school, but beforehand you need to do it. Don't just think like, oh, if I get a C in this, like I can definitely get in. Like I just have to pass. You need to strive for that A. It's not like super, super important. Like if you don't get straight A's, that's totally fine. But just definitely do your best in everything you do. And I would say, before you do apply to nursing school, if you're thinking about it, you might want to try volunteering at a hospital or a long-term care facility or something like that, so you can get a little experience with it to see if you actually want to do that, because it is a lot of work and a lot of effort you need to put forth into something wholeheartedly for you to end up figuring out that you don't really like doing that and like it's not for you. Other than that, basically, I think you just need to study. Like, study, study, study. I know that sounds like I'm being your mom or something, but that's kind of it. And then I'm in the process of getting ready to start the program in the fall. So there are like certain things that I have to do and have to still do beforehand. So you're definitely going to need to make sure that you have all your immunizations. And if they're outdated, you're going to need to do them again, like for the Hep B shots or varicella, mumps, measles, that kind of thing. And depending on where you're doing clinical, most facilities will have you do some sort of like online training. It's not always necessarily online. Sometimes it's like on paper, but some kind of basically like telling you about the facility, about all the rules like HIPAA and all of that, and the things you need to abide by while you are a student and learning there. And you have to follow all of the same rules that the people who work there do. So there's that. And then also obviously getting your scrubs and your shoes and all of that, and just make sure you are prepared like way in advance, because it's the worst thing ever if you don't get your shoes until like 2 weeks before clinical and then they're literally sold out, the kind that you want. So just don't wait, but plan it out like accordingly. Basically all I have to say is study hard, do your best, and a very important thing to know before you go in and also while you're in nursing school, and then even after when you do become a nurse, that a bunch of nursing professors and other nurses have told me, is that you definitely need to remember that if you have no more tears to cry for your patients, then you need to find another job, because a nurse's job is literally to care and comfort people. And if you just lose the desire to do that and you are no longer able to efficiently and thoroughly do your job, and like if you don't care anymore, there's no point in you being a nurse or being in the medical field. So just never lose that drive. And if you do, make sure that you like let someone know, or go figure out why you lost that drive before you like jump back into it. I'm by no means an expert on any of this, but this is just what I have come to learn and what I'm doing and what I did to get into nursing school and what I'm going to continue to do while I'm in nursing school. I think that's it. If you guys want more nursing videos down the road, like this video and please subscribe below.